Wakanda forever! Wakanda forever! Wakanda forever!
uh, on the dance floor, on doing the exercises, and we were just having so much fun. But we are going live right now. Welcome, welcome everyone to the GW3 Warrior Club. We are here to empower, uplift, our communities, our women and young ladies, but now we're moving on to our men and our families. And I hope you join us today because we are talking about the metaverse, part two. The metaverse. What do you know about the metaverse? And if you have any questions regarding the metaverse, we have an expert today, our special guest. He was here last week, and we're just so glad he's sticking around with us and educating us on what the metaverse means to our families and in the future. So before I introduce you to our special guest, I would love to introduce you to one of our warriors, our GW3 Vandy, for all the way out from Arizona. Thank you, Vandy, for joining us today. And what do you think about the
Hello.
metaverse?
Hello, hello. I am
I
Vandy
can't
Quake and
hear
I'm
you,
excited.
Vandy.
Can you not hear me?
I think you're on mute.
No.
There you
Let's
are.
unmute the mic. Is that better? Okay. Sorry, my mic was too far back. I've got my mic, my lights, everything trying to get on here. But it is, as I've been looking at this, technology is changing our lives so incredibly fast. And there are so many things like changing. And as we're trying to like navigate, this whole world of what it means, to parent with more technology in there, to do this. When I was growing up, it was a big deal when we had one computer in the house, one thing connected to the internet, just one device. And when we were getting ready for this call, I started to count how many devices I had in my home that were connected to the internet and connected to technology. And it really changes, from your security system to your Alexa, to your computer, to your tablets, to your phones. We have so much going on in our lives. So yeah, it's a big, big change, as we navigate. So I was excited that we were talking about this in our Family Talk Fridays and seeing what's going on. So yeah, it's a big, I don't know, a lot of new changes. So thanks for having me, Janice.
Woo woo! Isn't change amazing? Change
It
can
is.
be exciting when you change the perspective of it. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And let's start thinking, let's look at it more like that. And so thank you, Vandy, for being here today and sharing what you know and asking the questions to our special guest. And I would like to introduce you to our another warrior, our warrior all the way down from the DMV, Tanya, our orthodontist specialist. Hi, Tanya.
Hello, Queens. How are you? Happy
I'm good.
Friday. My name is Tanya Cahoon. I am a dental coach. What I do, I coach dental professionals in my community, ensuring that they pass their state board exam so they can perform their amazing duties. But I'm also an amazing chairperson with the Global Wealth Warriors. And what we're doing, we're impacting the world. And welcome to our Family Talk Friday. I'm Tanya and I'm complete.
Thank you, Tanya. We got our special, our other warrior, Maria is in the house. Maria.
Hello, hello, my family. How are you today? You all look beautiful. It's so amazing to see you all. I'm actually here in the office, so I apologize for anything that's about to happen, if anything. But I'm really happy to be here and talk about families, and I believe we're talking about the metaverse today. So I am excited to continue on with you ladies today. Look at you, beautiful girls.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. And I hope you have your questions ready for our special guest, Phil Akita. He is an architect from and he works with the company, and they create metaverses for companies, other companies, like big brand companies. And he was here last week. He's a programmer, he's a virtual reality specialist. Oh, where'd he go, Phil? Akita. Thank you for being here, Phil. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Phil. I live in Los Angeles. I'm an architecture designer using virtual reality technology to transport people to their homes. And one of the things that's essential is this technology enables people to experience possibilities before designing or having a space. So the idea of imagination or guesswork is eliminated. You get exactly what you want. You get exact product. I think the generation of guesswork, so trial and error, when it comes to design, is almost going to be a thing of the past. One thing is we believe imagination is more important than knowledge, and myth is more influential than history, and dreams are more powerful than facts. So I'm available on Instagram, mostly on LinkedIn, but I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Phil, I love that. Dreams are more powerful than facts. Last week, you really dropped a lot of gems on us. You said, and I love this quote, fear will be eradicated with knowledge. I love that. I love that. Fear will be eradicated with knowledge. It's so important. And we are living today in the knowledge age. So we can educate ourselves on everything. And last week you mentioned, because we asked, what is one thing that somebody can do when we're getting into the learning the future into metaverse? And you said, just start, look up some videos, YouTube, Google it, and just start researching and looking into this. Now, do you have any extra tips that we can do when it comes to learning about the metaverse?
Yeah, just conversations like this is another example. Joining rooms like this, because the technology is rapidly transforming, and whatever is happening today or this week or this month might be very different next month, next week, next year. This technology is moving fast because you have to remember we can't compete with artificial intelligence because they have a really huge, vast of memory, and they keep updating, they keep getting better, and they're solution oriented. And if you're a human listening or learning from this, you have to just kind of, first of all, learn the things that are available to you, the free things, the stuff you can watch on YouTube, and then you'll slowly get into the bigger questions that are available in maybe certain seminars or certain paid platforms, or maybe you can have certain books that you can get more specific and get more in-depth information. So I always look at the best things right now are the free ones that are available. Why don't you exhaust those and then get very specific based on your needs in the future? You can get more categorize what you really want to do, and leave a mark, leave a footprint in this coming future.
That's beautiful. Leave a mark and leave your footprint. I love that. Thank you so much, Phil, for being here. And you did mention about books last week also, and Carlos Domingo, The Master Algorithm, you recommended. Now, am I
Yeah,
saying that right? The Master Algorithm by Carlos
yeah,
Domingo.
yeah. I like that book personally because for those who are afraid of the future, it kind of gives you a little bit of what's going to happen in the future, a little glimpse. And not really, and like I said, if you know a little bit about the future or predictions from people who have observed human nature, then you wouldn't be afraid. You wouldn't be worried so much. So Carlos Domingos is a nice one, and then there's another one that you kind of have to read them together. It's by Max Tegmark. It's called Life 3.0. And I love this one because he gives you a story, a narration, and it's kind of almost a fictional kind of experience, even though it's a nonfiction book. And he talks about life in three stages. And he says life one in the beginning was everything was biological, and all behaviors could be fully coded into DNA, and you can only change, and generation of evolutions had to only change through time. And then, of course, he talks about the next stage, which is the human beings, us. We are life 2.0. 2.0 is us, where we develop software, language, enable us to change through our behaviors, and we can create hardware, and we've been evolving ever since. And now the metaverse, artificial intelligence, which is Life 3.0, is knocking at the door. And what that means in Life 3.0 is the AI has completely advanced, and to an extent where AI can design hardware and also create software. Where now Carlos Domingos, the Master Algorithm book, comes in, where it talks about the last machine man will ever make. And at that point, the machines will refine everything we need and make them better for us. And, we have to that's the part where Elon Musk is afraid. We have to have an agreement with this tech in a way that we still have an opportunity to survive and exist, as opposed to them really overtaking us and we being the obstacle to their progress.
Thank you, Phil. And it can get scary to think about it. Like you think about the
Yeah.
movies and stuff, that they put out there. But I would like to ask the ladies if they have any questions for Phil. Vandy, would you like to go first?
Well, I love your profile that you read a book and that you refer all of us to get more information from books, which is a great thing for me because I love to read. So I love that part first, but I loved the one other thing that you said that I really loved is you said start with the free resources, start learning about stuff and start learning today because it's going to change tomorrow. New things are
Yeah.
always coming out. And I love that so many of us, we want to jump in and we want to do something big instead of just starting with the baby steps, starting with those free resources. And so, um, do you have any advice for parents as we navigate this world of things to watch out for or things to be aware of, with kids, with all of these changes and stuff happening?
Wow, that's so hard. I'm a parent, and it's not easy because they're like AI, they change. They're not the same tomorrow. Today's a wonderful day, and then tomorrow or next week it's a completely new person. You know, um, it's incredible. So I think I don't know. My thing um, is which it depends on the age and depends on when you started this. My strategy is to just read with them. You know, I have a commitment with one of the kids is to read an encyclopedia. We just sit and read about it. A page every day. We just look at it and say, hey, what's happening on today? We're going to learn about sea creatures, and just that kind of stuff. Like I said last time, you don't really need to be like super detailed about things. You just need to have an idea so that you're not necessarily feel lost about something. So maybe that's the approach. And also, just when we watch documentaries as part of a learning exercise. So, and those things are really good, even though, it's just my intention is to make them creative people. That's it. That if they can be creative, then they'll be able to succeed regardless of whatever technology is there, because it's the creative ones, the ones who can imagine, are the ones who will be able to, use the technology. Like right now, there's artificial intelligence that creates art, and I showed Janet the other day what he could do. She talked about lunch that she had, and we give this description of the strawberry shake and on a plate and strawberries and everything. We typed that in, and the artificial intelligence created that image based on just words. So if everyone can do that, then it's the imagination. The ones who can imagine more radical things are the ones who maybe will succeed.
I absolutely love what you said though about encouraging our kids to use their imaginations and encouraging them to learn more. We are big fans of documentaries at our house. I've got 3 little boys, and so some of our documentaries are a little bit wild, living in Amazon, being barefoot or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
eating steaks or whatever. We do get some interesting ones, but I love that idea of just encouraging and spending, like you said, it's not a lot of time, but a little bit every day.
yeah,
And then encouraging them to think outside the box of what else can this do. And, sometimes it's hard listening to your kids ramble about their ideas or their stories or the fake, games that they're playing. But that's how
yeah.
we create those connections. And I love that. And I'd love people to drop in the comments if you're watching this on, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, wherever. Drop in the comments some of your favorite documentaries or some of the things you do, to partner with your kids in technology. Because as parents, I feel like it's always a learning game. Oh, let's try this, let's add this, let's do this, and continuing to look at all those resources. So I really
Yeah, you
appreciate
just
that.
remind me of something. One thing I never do, I always let them make the decision. I because I never, everybody has something, when the parents say, well, when we were young, we used to do this. I never introduce those kind of talks because this is their generation. This is how it is now. And all I have to do is support them. And whenever they want to do something, um, it is their decision. Everything they're doing right now is their decision. It has nothing to do with me. So if you don't do well in something, I always remind them this is what you wanted. So you have to decide how much you want to do it. So it's that kind of thing, where I don't introduce my stuff that I had in the past. There's not it doesn't exist. I don't bring it in the conversation. I can advise, but I try to avoid mirroring some of the things that were done to me when I was a kid. So just that
Yeah.
stuff.
I think my 9-year-old must have talked to you because he wants to switch from piano lessons to ukulele lessons. And
Yeah,
I was
just let him
having a
do
hard
it.
time with that because we already committed to piano,
Yeah,
and so one of the things I try to do is, I do limit how many activities my kids can do so that they are, like you
yeah,
said, Phil, focus on something. And the
yeah,
other thing I try to talk to my kids in is a time commitment. If they join a theater to perform a play, they have to stay the whole time because there's other people committed to them. They don't have to do it next year, but they do have to stay the whole time. And so I love what you said though about giving the kids the choice and getting them involved in that. So yeah, I guess I better go back and have some discussions on whether or not we're going to be doing ukulele. um so
At the end of the day, if you look at it, I always look at it like this way. If you think about this conversation with your kid in 5 years, it wouldn't really mean much. It wouldn't be that big a deal. And if you're in America, or this is the land of opportunities and options, and there's so many options out there. So why not? Why not try that music class, and then if you don't like it, try another one. They might even try like five, and finally something happens. On their sixth, something kind of sparks with the sixth instrument, and they might be one of the greatest of the greats. You know, you just never know these things.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Vandy, and thank you, Phil, for that. America is the land of opportunities for sure. And we got in the chat. KP said this reminds her of the movie I, Robot. Me too, KP. Me too. So Tanya, do you have a question? Take it away.
Hello, Phil. Welcome back. I enjoyed last week's segment, but I have another question for you. The question is, how would the metaverse, what impact will it make on the healthcare profession or the healthcare field?
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, there's a book right now called by Kai Fu Lee. It's called 2041, and by Chen Kui Fan, um, the author of Waste Tide. He talks about healthcare. There's two good things. Your AI will be able to, you know, like your watch, your Apple Watch tells you about your heart rate and everything. But your Apple Watch will be directly connected to the doctor. This is his prediction. And your doctor will be able to give you a call without necessarily going to the hospital to tell you what's going on and tell you what needs to be done. But then again, the side effect is it gives a story of two couples, one who is not feeling well, and the insurance indicates that they're not going to be able to live for a long time. So the AI will tell you that you might be in love with this gentleman or this girl, but according to statistics or whatever the AI has done research, you might not last very long, or it might be expensive, or it might be this, all that stuff. So AI will be able. That's the thing about AI. It's able to, rationalize, quantify, give you the best option. There's been this argument about, if two people are falling off a building, and AI can only save one person, how is the AI going to decide who's the person they're going to save? It's going to look at the health. It's going to maybe look at the education, the potential of this other person to help out in the near future. And then if the other person, maybe there's not so much good stuff, so the AI might go and save the other person. So the person who's able to will have a maybe bright future based on statistics or whatever. Those kind of things happen. But I think in general, right now we go through microscopes with our bare naked eyes. But you can imagine COVID, the reason why it was such a tracked virus is because of technology. And with AI, it will be able to detect things much quicker, zoom to microscopic levels beyond what we can see, and find solutions for problems for us. So I think, the future, longevity and all that stuff might be the way, because research will be on a completely different conversation. We're going on micromolecular level, infinitesimally small details to find things that cause problems in our bodies and fix them. So I think it's great. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just hopefully nations would be at peace at that time.
Thank you, Phil, for answering that question. Tanya, go ahead, take it away. Sorry.
I was just telling Phil, thank you so much, because, for example, you mentioned COVID. If we're able to detect the virus at an early phase, we'll have more control of it. So I can see a bright future when it comes on to, the metaverse and the healthcare, we'll be able to save lives.
And we'll live longer. So thank you so much, Tanya. That was an awesome question. I love that. Thank you. And see, the future looks bright. We're going to, just like Phil said, be connected to our doctors. So if something's happening within our body, they already know before we even know, right? Maria,
Yes.
thank you, Phil. Maria, do you have a question? What would you like to ask Phil?
Hi, Phil. I'm sorry I missed you last week. I was away in Europe traveling. So,
Awesome.
wow, wow, wow. What a conversation. So, I'm a little bit of a sensitive, more personal type of person. And I love, first of all, how you parent. I do want to I'm a former teacher. I do like that you said, you don't have to give them too much information at once. Their little minds can only grasp so much. So yes, bite-sized chunks, or even nibbles, really for children, is
Yeah.
what I like to say. I also love that you read. You said the word encyclopedia. Talk about going back into the past.
Yeah.
I had a whole bookshelf of encyclopedias, but my now we use Google. So I love the fact that you actually using an encyclopedia,
Yeah.
Britannica, if I remember correctly. I don't have it anymore, but I do miss it now.
They're in Costco. You'll find them in Costco.
Calculates everything. I love that. I love how you parent, and you see it's right along the lines of it's aligned with me and where I'm going with this conversation right now. Is and I think KP said it where she felt like it was iRobot. How do you feel about all this artificial intelligence um, interfering with or getting in the way of the connectivity or um, the togetherness of family? Keeping I are we going to have dinner and close your eyes and now you're eating kind of thing? Um, or because I love dinner with my children. It's a time where we talk about the best part of their day and then the worst part and then what they would do differently the next time that happens and or the stories that are told during dinner. They're almost as good as the stories told in the car on the way to our next trip. So do you see this kind of getting in the way of the intimacy of the family nucleus of the family?
I don't think so. I think it's inevitable. It's coming. It's almost like when you're in a road trip with your kids and they have iPads and they're quiet and just and you're thinking, how did they do it before iPads? And then and then the previous generation, said the same thing about the other ones when they were in horses. How do they do it without cars? It's coming. And the reason why, just like radio was terrifying at some point, or TV was like, you know, was scary. Parents are like, do not watch TV, watch it once or whatever. That information is evil. I mean, it's just part of human nature. It's the idea of fear. And if you don't know what it entails and you're afraid, this is why during the Age of Wonder, when cultures met, people from Europe met Africans, and Africans met Europeans, and South Americans met Portuguese, and all that stuff. You know, um, it was a terrifying moment, that first experience, because you don't know anything about each other. You just see different dressing, different styles of everything is completely different, and that's really a scary story. But if you look carefully, we're slowly being, you know, getting into this. Your phone is part of that system. Zoom is part of that system. Metaverse coming in very slowly is part of it. We're slowly getting into it. Some people are early adopters, so they'll go beyond. They're like, I need to know more about this. So those people, they'll have a chance to really, embrace this technology. But um, it is a little bit scary in the beginning, and the scary part is where when the robots take over, because AI, in itself, I know there's parts where they shut it down because it was speaking a different language. Google shut it down because they didn't understand what they were communicating, or maybe the relationship between U.S. and China. They create their own AIs, very powerful AI systems, but maybe both AIs figure out how to communicate with each other,
I feel
and
sorry. Go ahead.
that's okay.
I was going to say, I feel like though, even though you're so knowledgeable and so involved with it, I mean, just the fact that you're going back to the encyclopedia and not Googling with your children on a screen tells me that it just makes me realize that there's a balance, right? So you're actually maintaining that balance too within your own family. And so you speak of the word fear. I don't know that I'm fearful of it.
Yeah.
I think it's more conversations like this where we can just say, let's not be afraid. Let's discover together, but yet keep the personal relationships. The GW3 is all about personal relationships. We're all about connection. And, when we can hug, we hug because we're close and we're not on a screen or on a social app. So uh, I think really what it comes down to is find that balance and bring your child in and read a book with your child and keep it personal and keep it close. So I
I
love
love
that you have that you have that whole metaverse knowledge that we're all seeking to understand, and yet you're still bringing into your own personal life with your children that bonding time of the old school encyclopedia. So I love that.
Yeah, I think that's great because you have to remember they'll start. You see, right now your kid once it's 16, 12, whatever, they're kind of independent. They want to do their own thing, but the strategy is to spend time together. That's it. Even in the metaverse, you still have to spend time together. Even in the future, you still need time to spend. You still need to spend time together.
Yes.
Um, it doesn't matter. You can do a metaverse. They'll be knowledgeable in their own way, accessing all kinds of knowledge. But that that spending time together, I think, is a very necessary thing. Animals need each other. You've seen in documentaries they're always embracing each other as with kids and parents. So just spending time together, just interacting with each other is part of human nature. So if you do that, based knowing that also time is running out, so your subconscious is aware. Okay, I'm going to spend time with her. Maybe one day she'd feel uncomfortable me just hanging out. She just wants to do her own thing, and I'll be content. I'll be like, I really enjoyed the encyclopedia days. Let's move on to something else.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria, for asking the question. And Phil, you're so right. We're gonna need the human connection, regardless of if we're in the metaverse or not. Can't stay there long because we do yearn for that the bond between each other. So thank you so much, Phil. I want to take it to the clubhouse really quick to see if anybody in the clubhouse has any questions. I haven't really looked at the remarks, but right now, since we have it open, anybody would like to ask a question to Phil? Take it away. Okay, Phil. Well, I have a question, and we. So I had the question about the medical, and you answered that already. And Maria, you kind of spoke about my next question and how traveling will affect us in the future when it comes to the metaverse and the AI.
Traveling, wow, that's a good one. You know, I was at soccer practice, and you can look at the landscape and the sky, the trees next to the grass, and the soil, the rough soil, and all those things. You can take your water and pour that, and then there's a smell. Even when it rains, this those elements from nature that go to your nose, and you can breathe and experience that. I think the metaverse is really good idea, but those things are, they're very. I know you can mimic or create like aroma of those things in a space and feel like and trick the mind that you're there. But you can go to like Yosemite and feel Yosemite and feel that whole space. I think that's where the metaverse is going to have a challenge because nature in itself is incredibly beautiful, just the way it is. And there's a relationship between us and the environment. And this is why sometimes you can go and take a walk and feel like you've healed. I don't know if the metaverse can do that. I feel like nature is still number one when it comes to those elements. But the metaverse is like an alternative to some of those things. So, for example, if you're 90 years old and you want to go deep sea diving, and that was your passion, the metaverse can take you there, and then you can feel those experiences by memory, by looking at it. But there's a healing component with nature and true nature and us that's way more powerful than just a digital experience. So I think it's good to take a walk. Go to the real stuff.
That's called grounding. Let's take off our shoes and go run barefooted in the grass and the dirt. And they say that it actually energizes the body. So
Yeah.
thank you, Phil, for that.
And that's where AI is going to come, because we don't know why those things feel like that. Maybe we'll know. We'll know why we feel like that. We'll know why is it that when you just lay on dirt or lay on the ground, you feel something? What does that mean? So maybe once we know what those are, we'll be doing more of those things. We just don't know.
Thank you, Phil. Kathy, giving children a choice is so important. And they were talking about the encyclopedias. And they said, good job, everyone. God bless you. Jonathan, I would like to see if Jonathan has a question. If anybody in the clubhouse would like to ask a question, let's see, anybody available. But Phil, this has been one great session after another. I really hope you can come back, educate us. Maybe with the GW3, have a live Zoom and kind of walk us through creating our little metaverse, our own metaverse. And
Yeah, I'll be excited to do that. I'm going to share an actual restaurant that we're building. For those who, if you've had a Fogo de Chao, we are creating an entire environment, inside, outside, and we can actually walk inside, walk upstairs, walk everywhere. And the only thing that's limiting us right now to enjoy some of this high detail experience is just technology. But I feel like that's going to be taken care of in the future, where I even feel like my job is going to go, because in the future you'll just say what you want and the AI will recreate it for you. So it's interesting. But I'm so glad.
You said you were going to show us a little something.
I know, my gosh. I know. Can I take a rain check? Sorry.
Okay, that's cool.
Next
We'll put it in
time, I'll show you
next-
two things. I'll show you artificial intelligence for creating art, and then artificial intelligence for creating maybe email or even writing a book based on just what you're saying. And then I'll show you the digital environment. So I'll try to do it real fast. And then digital environments for the restaurant we're building here in Salt Lake City. So you guys can take a look how virtual reality is completely shifting communication between teams. Now the hierarchical conversations where the executive has to wait and this guy has to get approval from this. We all sit in one room and we all fix it right there and save so much time and emails and all that, and finalize a project in a short amount of time and move on. So it is changing a lot of things.
I love that. And you mentioned something about email and books. Now, we kind of talked about that not last week, but when we got to meet, we had a little talk. And you said, if you would like to speak more about that, what AI is doing right now with emails and books.
Okay. Yes, I know I need to jump out, but so AI is kind of really shaping everything. So I can give you an example. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry, excuse me. I apologize. I'm going to be real quick.
No need for apologies, Phil. Thank you for sharing. Somebody's got a hot mic. Can you turn down your Clubhouse?
Thank you.
Ooh, we're getting to see something from the
Okay,
expert.
so I'm just going to show you what an email could look like. Just one second. So this is from a lighting company, a company that I know. There were, and I'll give everyone can try this. You can just go home and try this. When I'll attach the links later. Not today, but maybe next time. So the AI there's a company and they've been developed where it can write your email for you. Or write a campaign for you to send a blast to a bunch of people. So he just wrote a very short description of what he wants. He says, write me a good email about LED strip lights. You can get specific. Write me a good email about LED strip lights for my company, something, something. We are located in this place and we are, hardworking, whatever, something like that. So the AI will take that information. But this one, they wrote, we are good. Write me a good email about LED strip lights. So the AI said, okay. So he said, hello in email format. Hello, if you're looking for an energy efficient and cost effective light solution, LED strip lights may be the perfect option for you. LED strip lights use less energy than traditional incandescent bulbs, and they last much longer um, last much longer, making them a great investment. This is just the first line from the AI from the email, based on just what you're saying. Write me a good email about LED strip lights, and then it keeps going. There are many different type of LED strip lights available in the market, so it's important to do your research and find the best option for your needs. Recommend checking our reviews and comparisons online to help you make an informative decision. And then it finishes saying, once you've chosen the right LED strip lights for your home or your business, they're easy to install and provide instant bright light. We hope you consider working with us in this lighting solution for your next project. So
Hi,
that's what the AI wrote. Go
hi,
ahead.
hired.
Yeah, it writes that, and you can specify the region, you can specify the city. This is why data is important, because if AI has access to data, and you can say, I want it in Dallas, Texas, in a particular part, maybe Houston, only Houston, then it's going to construct that email based on the residents of Houston and write something for you that could appeal to people in Houston, you know? And that's not where imagination comes in. The people who write what you want the AI to do for you. This is why you're being creative is the key. Once you're creative enough to think about how to construct this, then the AI will give you the best output. But if you just write, if you're not that specific, then that's what you're going to get. But if you get specific and write something amazing, that's short, the AI will comply and give you something that will help your business and it will give you an advantage in competition.
Phil, a fashion night out just wrote, you are a genius, Phil, for learning this. Go ahead, Maria, take it
Oh,
away.
All right, so here I go again with my phone over here. I'm thinking you just said you have to be specific. If you're not specific, then it's not so, right? It's not such an amazing email. You have to be clear. And look at
yeah,
that. We were talking about that this morning when we were talking about self-awareness and we were talking
yeah,
about putting it forward. It's clarity, knowing. I'm just tying it all in together. It's like really knowing what you need, being specific with the AI, kind of like when we're talking, using our words and saying, I don't want to wake up late tomorrow. Well, and don't say that because you'll wake up late. Just say, I want to wake up on time or early tomorrow, right? So it's all in what you're saying. So I just want to say that we could take what Phil is saying about writing this email and really apply it to what we're talking about in GW3 on the prayer, um, praying it forward in the morning. or we're talking about self-awareness, or we're talking about clarity and prayer and what we want for our life. So Phil, I'm feeling like this artificial intelligence is going to help us with really know what we want. Otherwise, it's not going to give us what we're really wanting. So we must really clearly define our needs and wants, our requests. I just there's so such a you don't have time for where I want to go with this right now. I know you have to go, and I don't think
Yeah,
anybody does. But there is something to be said about having clarity and knowing where you want to go in life and knowing the type of relationships you want or the places you want to go. So,
yeah.
wow,
You have
that's
to remember.
deep,
Yeah, you have
right?
to remember. Yeah, you have to remember this idea of standard education is very different now. What does that mean today? Because you can say, well, that's just standard education. It's completely different when it comes to technology. Ty Lopez is one of the guys I remember who got me to start reading because I was like, this guy's reading so much. I mean, why? Maybe I should try. And in those books, I discovered other people who were really interesting. So, like I was giving Jonathan an example, you can read a book in maybe 2 days, but you're reading a biography of someone from when they were children to when they were teenagers, when they were married. Maybe there was a divorce, maybe there was a remarry, maybe there was a successful marriage, maybe they decided to venture into new careers, they became successful, or they did this big, incredible physical thing, but in the end, they paid the price. Those stories, and then they passed away. And then you finish the book, but you're still here. You've lived someone's entire life, but you're still here. That means you have a second chance. Ty Lopez talks about you have to just be a learning machine because that's the only way you can interact with technology because it's not going to be as simple. It's not going to be general. It's going to be specific in a certain way. So you have to understand its language so that you can ask it what you want. Because all of us will be using AI, but we can create something. But amongst us, some people will create amazing stuff. And we'll be like, oh, is it the AI or what's going on? It's not fair or whatever. But it goes back to what you said, based on self-awareness, those kind of things. Who are you? How do you, recognize, how you feel? Did you focus on learning about yourself? All that stuff. And did you develop yourself? So this is crazy. This generation is nuts in terms of how much information is out there. It was in the past, it was so hard to get it. It was only for the rich and the wealthy. Now we'll reach a point in the future where there's really no excuses. You can't really blame something because it's right there. It's like air. It's free now. Professors in Harvard University are now giving free lectures online. You can just go watch a lecture for 1 hour and you learn about something. School is becoming free, which is disrupting what school means. Like Gary Vee's like, oh, whatever, all that stuff Gary Vee's talking about. He's talking about the fact that it's all there. You want to do my MBA? Why? Just go online and go to a place called Harvard X. Free. Just do the course, learn, and then you do the 70%, which is you just keep learning. And then magically you'll just emerge as, as an industry leader in your profession. So anyways, all that stuff. But thank you so much, guys. I got to jump out.
I love it, Phil. We could talk about this all day long. I'm so excited. I hope you stay connected. We'll have more metaverse and AI conversations because I wanted to ask you more questions, and we are at the top of the hour. And I so appreciate you for being here and spending this hour with us, Phil. I know you're a busy man creating, and you mentioned something, imagination will be used in our metaverse and in our future, really, because of our imagination. A new world is being created. Thank you so much, Phil. Yay! And we'll see you next week. And ladies, thank you so much for joining us and asking your questions. and we will be closing out this live. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Now we're going to go